Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. This week we have a project to work on, and there she sits. Some of you guys who've been with me for a while as subscribers will recognize this, and the story on it is this belongs to my younger son, and you guys could see it's even, registered for this year. See the key? I mean, the thing is a running unit. I guess it's where are we? Right there. Looks like it's a 2000, so it's about 17 years old. Maybe a 2001, so 17 years old. My son got this from someone he used to work with. And this bike fits kind of a unique place here in New York State. You need a motorcycle license to drive it. And it obviously has a plate and insurance and registration, but it doesn't need to be inspected because it's 49 cc's. Now, I haven't done a lot of Googling and research on this thing. It says Yamaha, and then it says Razz Yamaha, and then if you read the front of it, Riva, let's go with Riva by Yamaha. So I think, and if you guys could correct me on this, I think this is a China bike or a Taiwan bike, and our friends at Yamaha put their badge on it, and you guys could kind of see the way the transmission is. This is just single speed, constant velocity type of thing. You give it gas and you go. And the reason why I'm involved with it is he came up to me and said, "Dad, could you give me a hand loading it in my car? I'm going to bring it down to some buddies, and they were either going to get it running, and I'm going to pay them, or they're going to keep it." And I'm like, let me spend a little time with it before you give this thing away, because his buddies could get their hands on it and say, "Oh yeah, it's not worth keeping," and then or it's not worth fixing, and he says, "Okay, keep it," and the next thing you know, they're out riding it for him. I'm using the word buddies. Let me go with the word acquaintances. So no, I'm going to have to put a little time in on it to figure out what's wrong. It always had some carburetor issues, and it got those carburetor issues from sitting. It sat around too long, and it sprouted these carburetor issues. I offered him, I said, "Kevin, I'll give you a hand fixing those carburetor issues." But it was like, "No, I want to learn about these things. I'll do it myself." And you say, "Hey, that's cool. Go for it. You and your buddies, you should learn about these things." And my thoughts at that point, he bought it. He was going to give it his best shot. And even if it's a throwaway, he would learn something from it. So it's not like all is gone, right? You pay to go to college or to trade school, or believe it or not, somebody's paying for you to go to high school and elementary school. So you pay for education. It's not free. And they had varying success in getting it running, but it was always a little bit strange, and and they must have been in that carburetor 1,000 times. So I'm not thinking that that carburetor is in very good shape. He also a couple of times said, "Oh yeah, well, we lost a part, but we found something else that fits," or "We lost a needle valve and found something else that fits." So back to it. My guess is there's probably jets in there that were originally clogged up from sitting, and they've had some success in clearing them or not. And they've managed to get it quasi-running, perhaps on the main jet, but by tweaking the idle and some of the mixture and, and luck, it would run, but it wouldn't run consistently. So he did get it running well enough that he put it on the road, and he's run it. More recently, and I did spend a little time with him, he was trying to get it to start. He put a fresh battery in it, he was kicking it over, and it just wasn't doing anything. So I had him get a fresh spark plug in it, and we checked it, and it did seem to have a spark. And we put the plug into it, and I cleared it. It's electric start and kick start, so we cleared it by turning it over without the plug in it a few times, and kicked it a few times without the plug. Put the plug into it, a nice fresh plug, and I gave it a little hoot of starting fluid, and just nothing, either with the Kickstarter or the electric starter. And even jumping it on a decent, a little bigger battery, so that it was turning over fast enough, and it actually sounded like it was turning over plenty fast. Just nothing, not a pop, not a whistle, not a fart, nothing. It's only 49 cc's, but even with that, it didn't seem to have a lot of compression to it. So doesn't have a lot of miles on it, right? Less than 1,000 miles on it. I've seen comments where people say they get over 10,000 miles on these things, 20,000. I mean, they put it in kilometers, but then when you do the conversion, you get it to miles, and they seem to put a lot of miles on these things, and they seem to really use them and get some good, dependable use out of them. So I'm only a couple of miles, 2.5 miles from town on all slow roads. So for me, I also have a selfish interest in getting this running, because I could sit down on it and get my motorcycle license, sit down on it, and use it to go over to the local Hannaford or post office or McDonald's or whatever, and just have it as a nice little grocery getter. If I want to take a spin and see one of my neighbors, go down to the farm or whatever, I could just hop on it and give it a ride. And if it's running, my son, he's willing to pay for the insurance. He just has it on his, so I could just use it when he's not using it, because it's here at my house, and that's that. No, he wouldn't mind if I use it. He's cool. So I also have a selfish motive for getting it running. So there it is. I don't know if any of you guys have any experience with these things, or you would tell me, oh, the first thing I would try is this, or the first thing I would try is that. I mean, we already did the fresh spark plug. We already did the starting fluid. About parts for this thing, the little bit, once again, I gave eBay a quick sniff, and the carburetor for it just didn't jump right out at me. It wasn't like, bang, this is the carb and it's only $25, because if that was the case, I would have bought it. Let me show you the decal again. For some of you folks, perhaps overseas, or Canada or Mexico or Australia, or Europe, perhaps you guys, oh God, there's a billion of these things, and this is where you get the parts, and it's actually known as a blah blah blah. Stop calling it a Razz. Stop calling it a Yamaha Razz, or you know, Riva, or however one says that. You got to look at it up. You got to look it up this way, and you'll find the parts. Or this is where you get the parts. And the first thing I would do is bang, change the carburetor, and you could get one for $25. The second thing I would do is I would check this out or the other thing, and get, you know, that's what I would do, and I would just appreciate the starting, you know, at the second or third stage of troubleshooting, rather than being in discovery mode for everything. So there it is. Appreciate your thoughts, your suggestions, your comments, and particularly knowledge. I'm, you know, I'll figure it out. That's not the problem. The thing is to figure it out in real time. All right, folks, I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your heads up, and please, please get out there and enjoy all your days. Bye now, folks.